People will come to the
Oh, just for
mastermind group
once.
just for once.
What's the point of that? What's
Yeah.
the point of that? You have to give it time. I wouldn't miss one now. I would feel like I wasted a day if I didn't go every month. And not just for you guys, but I think that one of the things to think about is giving back as you're making money. For me, tithing and Jonesy and I, we have a thing where we're going to donate 10, as conversion chemistry keeps growing, we'll be donating 10% of our profits to charities as well.
Nice.
Giving back 10% tithing, just because we could get into a whole thing on that. But anyway, so the 10% on charity, 80% we split it halfway. Still plenty of money here, man. And Jonesy motivates me. I motivate him. And how did it come together? Now we're doing stuff with you, George, and I love that.
Yeah.
You know, who knows where the three of us are going with this whole fire your boss thing. I have a really good idea of what we could do and what we can do. Now all we have to do is do it, you know? So I say, let's do the voodoo that we do so well. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do the voodoo that we do. I like it. Yeah.
You don't even know that movie came out before your time.
Well, so did the Bible, and I'm aware of the Bible. So
fine, you got me on a technicality, smart ass.
Yeah, you ever heard of Mozart? Yeah, me too. Fancy that.
These whippersnappers, George, I tell you, these young upstarts.
I like how I'm turning 40 this year, and I'm still being called young. So that's always nice.
Hey, I'm young at 59, and George is young at his age, man.
Right.
I used to, of course, age is a relative concept. I used to be a clinical director of a psychiatric clinic that specialized in older adults. And I'll never forget a 100-year-old guy got into a fight with a 72-year-old guy. And when we broke up the fight and separated them like two children, the 72-year-old guy, when I asked him, why are you fighting the 100-year-old guy? What's going on? He said, he kept calling me kiddo. So I guess everything's relative. I guess to the guy that's 100, the guy 72 is just a kid.
Just a baby.
Just a baby.
That's right. And age
Jonesy,
is relative.
Jonesy, what do you think about that? Where people who just will float an idea one time and then say, okay, this is not for me. What are your thoughts about that?
You know, I operate on a grayscale. I don't have any black and white thoughts about that because you may not be asking the right audience that question if you're floating an idea out there. So a perfectly viable idea might not be hitting the right people. So to your point, you should be talking to, multiple groups or going back to a recurring group that has people, a shared core group, but may have some people that come and go in between it. So yeah, it's, I would float any idea out twice, maybe even 3 times before I decide to move forward or discard it. And, that group could be your own personal board of directors. I think it was episode 1 we talked about when we were talking about the business mistakes and how not having a plan. And then one of the plans is to have a small board of directors, which could literally be your friend or family who invests $1 in your business.
Yes.
Have a personal board of directors to float it by. Go to a mastermind. Ask some people who are your current clients. Those are the top 3 I would think of to do that with.
Yeah, I was thinking, as the months go on, and I know I'm getting more traction with my side hustle, and I'm giving myself 18 to 24 months to be able to leave the employment world completely and never ever have to go back to a boss ever again, which is, again, another reason why Fire Your Boss is so empowering for me, because I can't wait until the day when I'm not a take this job and shove it kind of guy. I mean, I won't say that. What I would say to an employer is, hey man, if you ever need a job, let me know. So, I would offer them a job. So if they were good to me, during the duration of the employment.
That's the reverse Uno card. But seriously, you're attaching a time frame to that for your goals and objectives, which is very important to keep yourself accountable and to make that goal have steps to get there. A great example is, one of my mentors, colleagues, friends, JV partner, Sterling Valentine, longtime internet marketer, who he found a great deal of success by using the words and wisdom of Ken MacArthur, of all people, of course, and set a challenge out to make 100K in 90 days. And that was Info Product Blueprint, I believe, was his first info product. And it was basically, that's the challenge. And setting a time frame to it to keep himself accountable. And that just goes to show right there, two things: that SMART goals work, T being the time specific, and the power of masterminds and floating your ideas to multiple groups of people, which happened to be the Impact family at that time.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about, I don't know how many months ago it was. We had a woman show up at the Mastermind who had a doggy daycare. Anyone remember that? And I was actually, I was hoping to see her again and again, because I felt like we were offering her some really good advice. And I think she was a one-person show. I mean, she did not, it's not like she had a lot of employees. People were dropping off the dogs and this and stuff. And I really think the Mastermind could have really, really helped her. Whether she comes back again, I don't know. But we've had some people, the one and dones, who come in, and it doesn't float their boat right away. For someone who's never been to a mastermind group before, how would you warn them, educate them, inform them, whatever? Frank Garin, what would you say for someone who's never been to a mastermind? What should they expect?
Probably to be at a good mastermind, made to feel very welcome. But at the same time, you're probably going to be nervous because you're going to be in the hot seat and it's your personal baby being picked apart. So you're probably going to walk out of there a little shell shocked, maybe the first time, you know. But at the same point, these are people that are doing this because they care. They care to share ideas and knowledge, best practices, visionary type skills. So if you're with a good one, and I don't know how you find a good one. I thank God we did, but the only way to find a good one is to go a few times, right? The first time, yeah, prepare to be a little uncomfortable in a good way. You're there to grow. You're not there to be speaking to a bunch of yes men. I mean, if everybody loves your idea, that's beautiful. But if somebody has something, even if it's like an idea, you're like, what are you thinking? It's crazy, you know? Take it with a grain of salt, take it in the spirit it's meant, and take it seriously, because the group mind can get, I'm all about the individual, I'm a libertarian, I mean, keep it off my wave and all that good stuff. But there's something about there's a difference in group think, which is, like George Orwell stuff and all that, 1984, but group thinking, or maybe group thought, however you want to put it, something about that, you get ideas that you never would have thought on your own. Jonesy's like that. We're partners, man. We're very much alike and very different, and he compliments me, and somehow magically I compliment him. And look at us. A month ago we weren't even doing this program. Here we are now. How cool is that?
It reminds me of like the phrase that if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. I like the cross training of being in a room with people who don't do it. I don't want to be in a room with 12 other coaches or guys that work with men.
No.
I like the idea that our mastermind is a what do they call it? A heterogeneous group. I don't want to be in a group with people exactly like me.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go to a mastermind, you never know what you're going to encounter. There are going to be a core group of people. But if we are open and receptive, and this is a commercial for our mastermind group, if anybody wants to attend, you go to kenOneday.com, K-E-N, kenOneday.com. And if you live out of the Philadelphia area, get yourself a hotel in the area, not in Philly. Don't get a hotel in Philly. It's in the burbs somewhere, and it's much more affordable. Drive or fly to the area. Get yourself a hotel so you can be at this meeting first thing in the morning, and maybe even 2 nights or something like that, and go out to dinner with somebody at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It will definitely be well worth anyone's effort. If you've never been to a mastermind group, I know I talked to some of my followers on my YouTube channel, and they said that they got so excited hearing me talk about our mastermind group. One guy's out in New Mexico, another guy's in Arizona, another guy's in Vegas. And they're like, I want to find a mastermind group like this out where I live. I'm like, well, good place to start would be like maybe meetup.com. If not, start one yourself. Start one yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure you charge people to attend, because if people don't have any skin in the game,
Yeah.
they're not going to value it. So in a mastermind group, Frank, what would you say? A mastermind group, how small can it be? And how big can it be to still remain effective?
I think, I mean, 2 isn't really a group. 3, I guess, 3 people, so that you have sort of a difference of enough of a difference of opinion. I think 10 to 15 is plenty, because 15 people, you're going to be there till midnight. 20 people, you're going to be there till midnight. I think 10, like, I like it when I love seeing everybody there, but if there's an empty chair or two, I'm like, good, then everybody else gets a bit more time. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, guys, 8 to 12 for a one-day, all-day mastermind, probably ideal.
Yeah.
And the thing is, even the core group, look, George, up until now, I thought you were just looking to grow your your podcast and this and that. Turns out all 3 of us are marketers, very similar. But the other guys, I mean, they're doing the deep brain stimulation training. We have real estate investors, that lovely couple from Russia. That was there last time. The lady with the dog.
We got the public adjuster.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
From Poland, that guy. What's his name? Peter?
That's Pete Bondarenko, and actually he's hosting. His building is hosting another mastermind that I go to, that is co-run by Bill Steiner, who is part of that mastermind. He's part of that community.
The tentacles just
right
are ever reaching. Yeah.
But that mastermind is it's more investor focused.
Right.
But it's with the other co-founders, with somebody kind of outside of that impact circle. But his name's Steve. They run Better Investors Masterminds that I attend now, because it's just the same mindset, different principles, but same overall mindset.
Yeah.
And that one, we do usually, and the format, they're experimenting with formats, but usually it's about 6 people in a 2 to 3 hour time period. And right now they're experimenting with doing some more presentation based meetups. But I think that's a good sweet spot too, is about 6 people in a 3 hour span.
Okay.
Yeah, which would work out to 8 to 10 in a 9 to 5er.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Jonesy, what do you think is the threshold where there's the kind of like diminishing returns after so many people? When does it start becoming ineffective? Would you say that, like Frank said, about 12 is about max? What would you say?
I would say 12, if everybody is given about a half hour during a one day. And then under 6, then you really have diminishing returns of either echo chamber or non-diversification of ideas.
Right. Yeah.
Would you, and I'll ask you both this question, do you think a mastermind group is great for any business, or info businesses, or IT businesses, or products? I mean, if a person has a widget, they're coming up with a new brand of power water or something, like, mastermind group can benefit any business. Am I correct in that?
Yes, absolutely. Because it at a very minimum, it's going to expose you to new ideas and new ways of thinking. Even if you are a complete master of your craft, then
Absolutely.
hanging out with even your competitors, sure, you can learn from your competitors and do research and maybe even have, healthy collaborations, but getting outside ideas and perspectives is what takes you to the next level. Because first there's the cross-pollination aspect of the whole thing. And, an idea or a problem that I solved, which, seems routine to me now, is like the Gutenberg printing press for you of problem solving and scaling, and then vice versa. And also you get to present your ideas into the eyes of someone who's a possible consumer, rather than a group of peers who are producing or selling a similar thing.
Okay. And then finally, there's just to kind of like echo what we talk about at our mastermind group every month, and this can be applied to any business. We always talk about have a product, have an audience, and have a conversion method, that 3-step kind of thing. That gets mentioned at least once. The other one is the two Ken questions. What do you want to do when you wake up? And then his other question is, what at the end of your life? How does that go?
What do you want to be known for, or something?
What do you
like
want to be?
that?
Yeah, like something like what will shown you that you lived and loved life to its fullest, or something. I forget the exact questioning. He always mentions those two questions, and then the other third concept that's brought up, that's mentioned at least once, is minimum viable product, and you brought that up,
Yes.
Jonesy.
Yeah.
So bring that up. Talk about that, Jonesy. Minimum viable product.
That is the first iteration of your product or service that you can offer to a group of people to potentially buy. And the idea behind it is that you don't spend an over excessive amount of time, resources being money, being more time, capital, raw materials, whatever the case may be, developing something that nobody wants. So the minimum viable product, you test out if it's something the market wants or not. And then from there, you know, depending on if it's an info product, software, you beta test, you get feedback from early users, early adopters, to then create the next stage iteration of said product and service based on the learnings, what worked and what didn't. But at its core, the simple step one is, will somebody buy this?
Yes. Frank, talk about that 3-step thing. Have a product, have an audience, and a way to convert.
Well, sure. The first thing is you have to have a product. You have to have something that you can sell, something tangible or even intangible that you can sell. Okay. The second thing is your audience, and the whole world is not your audience. The only thing is if you sold air, sunlight, water, and oxygen, these type of things, the whole world is your audience. Other than that, find your tribe, find the people that are looking for what you want. Where do they currently buy from? Where do they go now? Who do they buy from? What are they looking for? What are their problems and their um, needs and wants? And the third thing is the conversion. You have to find a way to get those two crazy kids together, what you have to sell and the audience. And you want to bump into each other like this. You want a smooth meshing. And that conversion is what conversionchemistry.com is all about. And that's what we seek to provide, is knowledge for people to be able to convert what they are already selling and do better and sell more of that item or service or product.
That's great. That's great. All right, guys. All three of us are going to be at the Create Impact Now event, April 19th, 20th, and 21st. If you go to createimpactnow.com, sign up for that. Why is it important to get in a room? You got to get in the room with other people who think differently than you, who look differently than you, have other ideas than you. And I think a conference is one of the best. I mean, Mastermind is, for me, one of the ideal ways to do it. But a conference, man, puts you in a room with intellectual capital that you cannot encounter anywhere else. Frank,
Amen.
what are your thoughts about that?
Oh, I absolutely agree. Mastermind would be number one, but number two is there's something about being at a conference. You just bump into people. You're like, hey, I like your shirt. Or, oh, I see you're wearing on your travel bag there, it says, I'm from Arkansas, that type of a thing. So you just wind up meeting people, and it's in the elevator, it's on the airport shuttle bus, it's on this and that, it's at breakfast or lunch or dinner. You don't know who you're going to meet, but like you said, George, where else are you going to put these people together? Where else are you going to meet so many like-minded yet different people in one place? Nowhere. And that's why you want to go to Ken's event. And you talk about a price. Ken is extreme. I mean, I don't want it to sound like, oh my God, we all love Ken, because we do. It's true. The guy is that good. And I used to drive an hour to eat lunch with him at a pizza joint in Doylestown, PA, twice a year, just so we could tell each other what we were up to. And that's not two geniuses, yes, but was that an official mastermind? No. And this thing here, like a big conference like that, and it's big enough to get a wide variety of people, but small enough not to be intimidated. It's not being held at like the Jacob Javits Convention Center in New York, where there's tens of thousands of people at once, and you feel alone. This is the kind of event where the guy next to you, like, oh, how cool was that? Did you see what this guy just said? What do you do? That type of thing. And you can make friends. I've done a lot of business at conferences and events like that. So if I had 3 thumbs, I'd be giving 3 thumbs up. But unfortunately, I only have two. 2 thumbs up for attending Ken's event.
It's funny. One speaker last year that really, he spoke to me. Like, different speakers speak to us in different ways. And one of the guys that really spoke to me in the beginning of his presentation, it was Dan Zatopsky.
Zatopsky, yeah.
And one of the mornings, I was downstairs having breakfast and coffee, and he was there. And I didn't know Dan from the Man on the Moon. I just knew he was a speaker there. And I said, "Hey, good morning." Maybe it was the second day. I said, "Hey, good morning. How's it going?" He goes, "You pull up a chair, sit down." And he and I had a chat for an hour. Now, if I was to purchase an hour of his time as a consultant, I would probably have to transfer some money out of my savings account to my checking account in order to float him the proper amount of money that he would charge for professional consulting. But I sat with him for an hour, and it wasn't just, "Hey, nice day, right? What do you think of these scrambled eggs?" We were talking business, and I felt like I was getting so much from this guy. I was like blown away. I was blown away. He didn't know me from the Man on the Moon. I didn't know him from the Man on the Moon. I just knew he was a speaker there, and it was actually quite incredible. I think one of the days I also did it with Tom Beal as well. He and I had coffee in the morning.
Tom's a good dude, man.
Yeah,
Tom's
it makes me laugh. He just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
So, but I would never ever be able to. Where would I encounter these guys?
Nowhere else.
I heard 2 guys saying the other day. One guy was talking to another guy about his success, and I'm listening, and he's just like, "What did you do?" And he said, he goes, I went to a thing called the Big Seminar, run by Armin Morin. And this guy's like a legend. And he goes, "I have no idea where he is now." And I'm like, "I do. I know where he is now." And I'm like, I know the guy. They're like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I know him." I said, "I know the guy. He knows me. He sees me and says, 'Hi, George.'"
Yeah.
And I thought, that would never have happened. That would never have happened in a million years unless I went to a conference and mixed with these guys. And there's not a lot of, remember in Wayne's World when they would meet like Alice Cooper, Aerosmith, they were kind of like doing this, like bowing.
We're not worthy.
Yeah, we're not worthy.
Yeah, we're not. And there is not a "we're not worthy" element when you go to conferences. It's like the speakers, they don't rush them in with their handlers, 1 minute before the presentation is about to start. I love the fact that the speakers are hanging out. They're having breakfast with us, lunch, and you're picking their brain in the hallway, and having coffee with them in the afternoon, or going out to dinner at night with them, that kind of thing. That's one of the reasons why I love conferences, because it puts me in the room with people that I would never, ever meet under normal circumstances.
Absolutely. And then I have to tell you 2 things. One, I'm looking around for it. I don't have it anymore. I got a clock for being a desk clock for being a speaker at Armin's big seminar in San Francisco, or was it Dallas? Big seminar too. So that's how long I've known Armin, and he is a really good guy. Yeah. Second thing is 98%, and certainly 100% at Ken's, but in general, 98% of the speakers are approachable. But I've been backstage, George. There are some princesses and divas out there, boy, that don't want to mix with the unwashed masses,
the common man.
Yeah, and you'll know who they are, but you won't find him at Ken's because he's not going to tolerate that crap.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't cater to divas at all.
Hit me up on conversionchemistry.com. I do have a couple guest passes, so if price isn't an issue for somebody, I'll make sure they get in the door.
Frank Guerin, what is your last word for the day?
Last word is go to a Mastermind and go to Ken's event, because both of them will be life-changing. And also I would say just believe in yourself, because The only security is the security that you create for yourself.
Excellent. And where can people find you, Frank?
Conversionchemistry.com, right next to Jonesy.
Beautiful. Thank you. Jonesy.
Be kind, because it's free. Even when you go to fire your boss, be kind, be firm but kind, and leave that door open for them to come work for you.
That's incredible advice. That is actually incredible advice. And people can find you also
At the local hockey rink, usually.
At the local, right?
But when I'm not there, conversionchemistry.com.
Frank Guerin, former bankrupt truck driver from New Jersey.
Yes, that's me. I shall be forever known as that. And I'm proud of it. I did it. I made it. And I help other people, which is something I'm even more proud of, because I do believe, not to get all high and mighty, but like you get places by helping other people.